When you begin to act as if everything always works out for you, you step into a mindset that fundamentally alters the way you experience the world. This isn't about ignoring reality or pretending challenges don't exist. It is about choosing to interpret life through a lens of trust rather than fear. Most people are trained to anticipate disappointment, to protect themselves by expecting the worst, but that habit quietly trains the mind to search for failure before possibility. Acting as if things work out for you flips that pattern completely. It invites you to see opportunities where others see obstacles. It allows you to stay calm in the middle of uncertainty because you are no longer evaluating every moment as a threat, but as a chance for alignment, learning, and growth. When you truly believe life is happening for you rather than against you, your posture changes. Your decisions become bolder because you assume that even if the path twists, it is still guiding you toward something meaningful. This mindset is not just an emotional strategy. It impacts your actions, your relationships, and the consistency of your efforts. When you trust that the outcome will ultimately serve you, you stop quitting too early. You stop panicking when timelines shift. You stop doubting yourself when results take longer than expected. Instead of trying to control every detail, you allow yourself to stay committed with patience. Success, fulfillment, clarity, and opportunity tend to reveal themselves most to the people who remain steady rather than frantic. Acting as if things always work out creates that steadiness. It prevents you from collapsing into discouragement and keeps your energy directed towards solutions. People who live this way don't get lucky, they simply don't give up, and therefore their persistence looks like destiny. Believing everything works out also reshapes the way you view setbacks. Instead of interpreting a delay as failure, you learn to see it as redirection. Instead of assuming rejection means you are unworthy, you understand it might be protection or preparation. Life stops feeling like an enemy and begins to feel like a teacher. That shift changes not only your confidence, but your internal peace. You no longer need immediate proof that things are working out because you trust the longer arc of your journey. Doors that close today may be clearing space for doors that are far better aligned with who you are becoming. Acting with that belief means you walk forward with less tension, less self-judgment, and more curiosity. You become open rather than defensive, hopeful rather than impatient. In the end, the power of believing that everything always works out for you lies in your ability to shape your own emotional environment. Life will always contain uncertainty, but you choose whether that uncertainty becomes a source of anxiety or a source of possibility. When you practice this belief consistently, you cultivate resilience, you invite synchronicity, you embody calm strength. And over time, you begin to notice that because you believed things would work out, you kept moving long enough for them to finally do so. Shifting from fear to trust is not a switch you flip once. It is a daily choice to detach your identity from worry and invite a calmer, wiser inner voice to lead. Fear has a way of convincing you that you must constantly monitor, predict, and control every outcome, or else everything will fall apart. It pushes you to anticipate what could go wrong rather than what could go right. This mindset drains energy, limits action, and narrows possibility. Trust, on the other hand, opens the mind to cooperation with life instead of constant resistance. It allows you to release the need to know the future before taking a step. When you begin to trust instead of fear, you are not claiming that nothing difficult will ever happen. You are claiming that you will be able to handle whatever does. That shift alone is liberating. Fear thrives on uncertainty, but trust learns to operate within it. Most people wait for perfect clarity before moving, waiting to feel no doubt before acting. but life rarely presents perfect timing or perfect certainty. Trust allows you to move despite what you cannot yet see. It replaces the question, "What if I fail?" with "What if this leads somewhere valuable?" Fear shrinks your world to the size of your comfort zone, while trust expands it to the size of your potential. By choosing trust, you stop giving anxiety authority over your direction. You begin to act from intention instead of avoidance. You stop shaping your path around protecting yourself from disappointment and start shaping it around who you want to become. In this shift, your nervous system learns to relax rather than react. Fear tells you that setbacks are punishments, delays are proof of inadequacy, and uncertainty is danger. Trust interprets the same moments differently. Trust sees setbacks as signals, delays as timing, and uncertainty as space for growth. It is not blind optimism. It is grounded confidence that there is meaning in the unfolding, even if you cannot yet articulate it. Fear rushes, clings, and forces outcomes. Trust allows slow steps, redirection, and patience. When trust becomes your internal baseline, you no longer break at every inconvenience, rejection, or change in plan. You remain steady, flexible, and responsive instead of rigid and reactive. There is also a quiet dignity that emerges when you choose trust. Fear loudens your inner world with doubt, comparison, and self-critique. Trust softens it. You begin to speak to yourself with clarity instead of criticism. You allow yourself to try, to learn, to pivot, and to continue. That inner shift influences how you engage with others as well. You stop seeking constant validation because you are not building from insecurity, but from belief. You no longer live in survival mode, constantly waiting for something to go wrong. Instead, you begin to assume that life is guiding, teaching, and aligning you rather than trying to trap or defeat you. Ultimately, moving from fear to trust is an act of self-respect. It is a declaration that you are not ruled by the mind's alarms, but guided by a deeper internal compass. When you adopt trust as a way of being, you discover that progress becomes less frantic, decisions become clearer, and life becomes less about defending yourself from the unknown and more about stepping into it with confidence. Turning setbacks into setups for success begins with the way you interpret the events that feel like obstacles. Most people experience challenges as interruptions, as evidence that something is going wrong, and they respond with frustration, self-doubt, or even defeat. But setbacks are not inherently failures. They are information, signals, and opportunities disguised as difficulties. Every time something does not go as planned, life is giving you feedback, pointing you toward adjustments that will strengthen your skills, refine your strategy, or clarify your purpose. When you embrace the idea that setbacks are setups, you stop resisting the inevitable bumps along the way and start using them as stepping stones for growth. This mindset transforms what could have been discouragement into a powerful engine for improvement. The first step is to shift your focus from the problem itself to the lesson within it. When a project fails, a relationship falters, or a plan falls apart, it is easy to fixate on the negative outcome, replaying it over and over in your mind. That focus creates fear, paralysis, and hopelessness. But when you examine what the situation is teaching you, you begin to uncover insights that would have remained invisible in the comfort of smooth progress. Perhaps you learn that a certain approach was ineffective, or that your timing needs adjustment, or that you must develop a new skill to succeed next time. These lessons are invaluable, and they exist only because the setback occurred. In that sense, every difficulty carries with it the seeds of an even greater opportunity. By shifting your attention to those seeds, You transform the emotional weight of failure into a sense of possibility and purpose. Turning setbacks into setups also requires resilience, the willingness to continue despite disappointment. Life rarely hands out success in a straight line. The people who accomplish extraordinary things are rarely those who avoid mistakes. They are those who persist through them, using each obstacle to sharpen their focus, strengthen their determination, and clarify their goals. When you experience a setback, it is natural to feel discouraged, but that moment of discouragement is temporary. What lasts is the momentum you generate when you choose to move forward, armed with the lessons learned. Each step taken after a setback compounds your experience and makes future challenges easier to navigate. The more you practice this, the more you recognize that obstacles are not roadblocks. They are the training ground for long-term achievement. Finally, the way you respond to setbacks communicates to the world and to yourself who you are. Choosing to see difficulties as setups for success signals courage, adaptability, and confidence. It shifts your energy from reaction to creation. Instead of letting frustration or regret dictate your next move, you take control of the narrative and actively shape it. You begin to approach challenges with curiosity rather than fear, seeking the hidden opportunities and acting decisively on them. Over time, this mindset builds momentum, self-trust, and a reputation for perseverance. What once seemed like misfortune becomes the very mechanism through which you grow stronger, wiser, and closer to your goals. By transforming setbacks into setups for success, you turn the inevitable struggles of life into the essential fuel for achieving the extraordinary. Choosing optimism and assuming that things will work out is a practice that reshapes not just your outlook, but your entire approach to life. Most people live under the weight of default pessimism, conditioned to expect the worst so that they won't be disappointed. This constant anticipation of failure creates tension, restricts creativity, and narrows the space in which solutions and opportunities can appear. Optimism, on the other hand, is not naive hope or blind faith. It is a deliberate choice to interpret circumstances in a way that highlights possibility, potential, and progress. When you consistently act from the assumption that things will work out, your mind begins to scan for solutions rather than problems, for opportunities rather than obstacles, and for growth rather than defeat. Optimism also changes your energy and presence. People who operate from a positive assumption radiate confidence, composure, and resilience, even in situations that feel uncertain. Others are naturally drawn to them. Doors open more easily, and collaboration becomes smoother. When you expect favorable outcomes, you take actions that align with that expectation. You are more willing to take risks, to try new things, and to persist when difficulties arise. Pessimism, in contrast, leads to hesitation, avoidance, and missed opportunities. Acting as if things will work out does not guarantee instant success, but it guarantees that you will keep moving, learning, and adapting, which dramatically increases the likelihood of success over time. Moreover, optimism fosters clarity and creativity. When you believe that challenges can be overcome, your mind is free to explore solutions without being paralyzed by fear or doubt. You begin to see patterns and connections that pessimism would obscure. You start to notice alternative paths, innovative strategies, and small advantages that others might overlook. This mindset allows you to embrace uncertainty rather than fear it, to remain flexible rather than rigid, and to treat failure as a temporary detour rather than a permanent defeat. Every setback becomes an experiment. Every delay becomes an opportunity for refinement, and every obstacle becomes a prompt for creative problem solving. Optimism fuels the resilience necessary to transform difficulty into progress. Choosing optimism also cultivates emotional strength. Life will always present challenges, and situations will not always unfold according to plan. Those who act with a positive assumption do not deny difficulty. Instead, they approach it with a constructive perspective. This reduces stress, promotes patience, and sustains motivation. By assuming that things will work out, you maintain a baseline of confidence that prevents discouragement from taking root. Your decisions are less reactive and more intentional, your interactions less clouded by fear, and your focus sharper on the outcomes you wish to create rather than the obstacles that stand in your way. Ultimately, choosing optimism is an act of empowerment. It places you in the driver's seat of your own experience. When you consistently assume that things will work out, you begin to notice that life responds in kind. Opportunities appear, relationships strengthen, and challenges are met with resourcefulness rather than defeat. Optimism is not a guarantee of perfection, but it is the lens through which you maximize possibility, embrace resilience, and move forward with unwavering confidence. It turns the simple act of belief into a daily practice that shapes your reality, opening the door to growth, success, and fulfillment. Living with confidence, purpose, and unshakable faith is a mindset that transforms the way you approach every aspect of your life. Confidence is not about arrogance or pretending to know everything. It is the quiet assurance that you can face challenges, learn from mistakes, and take meaningful action even when the path ahead is uncertain. When you carry confidence, you act decisively, speak with clarity, and approach life with a sense of ownership. This inner strength allows you to navigate obstacles without being paralyzed by doubt, to pursue opportunities without hesitation, and to maintain composure when circumstances shift unexpectedly. Confidence is the foundation upon which purposeful action and steadfast faith are built, and it grows each time you take steps forward, even when the outcome is not guaranteed. Purpose gives your confidence direction and depth. Confidence without purpose can become aimless energy, but when paired with a clear sense of why you are doing what you do, it becomes unstoppable momentum. Purpose clarifies your priorities, aligns your actions with your values, and fuels resilience when times get tough. When you know what you stand for and where you want to go, setbacks become lessons rather than deterrents, and obstacles become opportunities to reaffirm your commitment. Living with purpose means that every decision, every effort, and every interaction is guided by a meaningful intention, creating a life that feels coherent, fulfilling, and aligned. Purpose transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary impact, and it gives you the courage to keep moving forward even when the journey is difficult. Unshakable faith is the third pillar, the quality that sustains you when confidence wavers and purpose feels distant. This faith is not necessarily religious. It is the belief that your efforts, perseverance, and mindset will guide you toward growth, learning, and eventual success. Faith allows you to remain calm in uncertainty, to see potential where others see risk, and to continue acting even when immediate results are not visible. It is the quiet trust that life is unfolding as it should, that every experience contributes to your growth, and that challenges are part of the larger story of your journey. Faith transforms anxiety into patience, frustration into curiosity, and fear into determination, allowing you to move forward with steady momentum rather than reactive energy. Living with confidence, purpose, and unshakable faith also changes the way you interact with the world. People are drawn to those who act from clarity, consistency, and calm assurance. Your decisions inspire trust, your actions create influence, and your presence encourages others to rise to the occasion. You become a stabilizing force in chaotic situations and a source of encouragement for those around you. This outward effect reinforces your inner mindset, creating a positive feedback loop where confidence strengthens purpose, purpose deepens faith, and faith amplifies confidence. Ultimately, embodying these qualities is a daily practice, a commitment to approach life with intentionality, courage, and trust. By living with confidence, purpose, and unshakable faith, you align your actions with your values, pursue your goals with determination, and navigate challenges with grace. You create a life that is resilient, meaningful, and expansive, and you cultivate an inner strength that allows you to thrive regardless of circumstances. It is this mindset that enables extraordinary growth, enduring fulfillment, and the ability to face every day with boldness and clarity.